I'm the commander of the second. I'm the commander of the mechanized battalion. My call sign is K-2, 54 Separate Mechanized Brigade.
And its name is K-2, right?
Yes.
Is that what your unit is
Well,
called?
that's what people call us.
Good day
Hello.
once again.
No, just a
Good day.
second.
Can you tell me your call signs?
Cobb. My name is Maxim.
What do you do? What is your position?
Well,
Or just name your functions.
what are my functions? I do almost everything. I can control a mortar, a grenade launcher. I just cannot control drones. Overall, I work on everything we have available, except howitzers and heavy equipment. I haven't trained for this yet.
Well, you're the battalion commander.
Yes.
You have already told us something. You have not told us only how many personnel you have under your command.
Oh, well, I will not say the exact number. About 1,000 with attached units.
About 1,000.
Up to 1,000 military personnel.
If you're addressed, what is your call sign?
My call sign, personally, my call sign is K2.
K2, personal. What about yours?
Good afternoon. I'm a serviceman of the 54th Separate Mechanized Brigade. My call sign is Messi. I'm a resident of the city of Dnipro. If we talk about duty, then the realities of modern war require versatility from military personnel. Therefore, we all know how to use all types of weapons that are available. That is starting from machine guns, both ours and American, and ending with the artillery, mortars, howitzers, anti-tank means such as javelins, stugna, and clarinet or bassoon.
Oh, good. I know you run your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Do you have people editing and publishing videos?
Well, it used to be me and few of my personal assistants. When a full-scale war has not yet come, there was more time between operations. There was no such pace and such drive. Then there was time and we did it. But now, unfortunately, there is so much thing because there is work every day. It is simply physically impossible to process it all. But we run the channel whenever possible.
Your channel now appears on the screen. You can go and watch the videos. They are really interesting. They are cool. But let's just talk about a few of your videos. We can start with the first one.
From the first, it is, so to speak, ancient. Neighboring units of our brigade liberated the city of Bilogorivka, the settlement of Bilogorivka, Lugansk region. But the enemy tried to launch a counterattack after some time to recapture this settlement. But they committed, so to speak, tactical stupidity. He went from the line along our unit. He launched a frontal attack on another unit, but he got to us along the front line. We arrived in the morning. The morning started as usual, nothing special, military. My fighters who were driving quadrocopters saw the Tiger and saw, let's say, several military personnel and immediately called me. Because we identified them with Ahmad, they were dressed in a unique way, tactical, smart, beautiful, and I came...
Detachment Ahmad T.
Well, Ahmad.
Yes.
Ahmad T?
They shouted Ahmad T.
Two TikTokers. Do you know, they say that their commander is a TikToker, that they have a tiger. And I say that it's necessary to point to the lesion. That's how while we were approaching, we saw the Ural with the anti-aircraft complex there, then began to suggest lesions. And in this time, we enlarged the image and saw in the lens 8 FPVs, one of which was, let's say, the full staff of infantry. That is, the number of personnel was about a company of soldiers.
Theirs.
There were 8 EFVs, about 10, 12 people, servicemen of each EFV. Well, it turned out that we were hunting for one car, and in the end we destroyed 3 EFV, 2 cars on which they tried to evacuate, as if they were Audi and Moskvich, Kamaz, Ural with anti-aircraft system, and Tiger. Well, it's more interesting. This is the enemy's entire attack. They didn't even cross the starting line. They did not succeed. That is, they did not recapture the settlement. Those our divisions were given the opportunity to gain a foothold, and then about a week later they tried to storm the settlement again, but they had no effect. They didn't have a single chance. This settlement will continue to be under the control of our units.
And still?
And still, yes, of course.
And still. The second video, this is something so interesting. Here you captured someone with a drone. How was it captured by drone?
Andrusha.
Andrusha. Yes, we call this video Andrusha. PMC Wagner attacked us. These were the first assaults of our brigade. Let's just say it took them a long time to get to us, about a week. There was a gray zone of about 1.5 kilometers between us. They advanced assault units, advanced further. They advanced more and more towards us. We destroyed them, and one day they gathered their strength and tried to run across the field to the reinforced platoon, about 30 servicemen. About 100 people left them, and about 30 people reached us. And in the end, only 3 people ran to our trenches. And I already say that we will not waste ammunition. Let's not waste shells on them, because there was simply no sense in it. There was no point in shooting. And I told them to throw grenades at them from drones. And we started throwing at one guy, Andrusha. We threw and hit somewhere half a meter from him. He began to run from one trench to another. We chased him with a drone, and at some point, he just looks at the drone and makes this gesture. That's what I did. I saw it and told the pilot to wave his wings. If he surrenders, I give him my word that I will not touch him. For understanding, you cannot talk into a drone.
Yes, yes.
In general, you can, but not in the model we flew. And we showed him this gesture. He waved back at us. The distance to us was 670 meters, and also, what is really interesting is that he ran from one trench to another, and from each trench he was driven out by his fellow soldiers.
Why?
As he told us, the phrase was, "Get out of here, or a drone will fly here and drop a grenade." And they just kicked him out of these trenches and dugouts. And when he realized that he has no place to hide, understand that we see him and will kill him anyway. And he decided to surrender to us. And he followed the drone. He walked 300 meters, the battery in the drone was discharged, another drone arrived, showed him that we see him, that everything is fine. I ordered all our units not to open fire. Of course, not everyone immediately understood why this should be done, but said that I would not understand if someone fired at least one shot.
I didn't understand the gestures. Do you have any conventional sign language?
Well, I'll tell you honestly.
He did so as you showed.
So he showed me like this, like,
yes,
why?
Why?
How long can it
Why?
last? Yes, before that I saw on YouTube channels how our helicopters were flying and greeting our servicemen. Flaps of the wings, left, tilts of the hull to the left and right. I started making the same gestures for him. And then he drone quickly flew back 4 meters, flew slowly 1 meter forward. And he then said that he understood exactly this gesture. And I show him the way we go to just when he and I were conducting, let's say, gesture negotiations. He wasn't fired a single shot. And he really understood that this is a chance for life. He walked this 700 meters to us. His first phrase was, "Where are the heads in the cauldron?" I didn't get it first.
Heads?
Where are the heads that are boiled in the cauldron or in the cauldrons? He said.
Yeah.
And when I already started communicating with him, it turned out that his name was Andrusha, a young guy, 21 years old. They put him in jail for his wife's loan, borrowed an iPhone on credit, but that's... He said that when he was in prison, he was shown films about us. Where are we? Where are... in the forest at positions, what? And we boil heads in a cauldron.
Andrusha, how is here? Did you get enough sleep?
Hello.
Or not? Was it warm at night?
Zolkin Andrei Evgenovich.
How old are you? Year of birth? October 10, 2002, 20 years old.
Astrakhan. Subdivision PMC Wagner. Next.
Attack aircraft. 5th echelon. 5th division, right? Well, the
K-2
Fifth Assault Brigade group.
Here, he lived with us for a week. I didn't even want to give it away. A good guy. He chopped firewood, well, really normal. I generally wanted to leave him with us, and he really asked me to keep him. We feed him. In the evenings, I brought him to my headquarters, let him watch movies. He had access to the YouTube channel, wood-burning stove.
He had everything in Ukrainian.
Yes. He watched the films in sincere Ukrainian.
In Ukrainian.
And how much did he understand?
It was principal position. No, he didn't understand anything, but on the fifth day he began to understand everything.
You see, it's like a 5-year-old child sitting and watching TV enthusiastically. He the same. He couldn't look away, simply.
The language fascinated him.
Well, maybe...
Or a color picture. We have good TV full HD.
Plasma. Maybe he had a tube TV there.
And on the fifth day he began to understand everything. Then I gave him to another unit in our brigade. He also lived there for 1 or 2 weeks. And when I already decided to take him back to me because he showed himself from the good side, then he was already transferred to the exchange fund.
But Andrusha, if you hear me, then come back. I'll let you in. We will forgive everything. I think he has already been positioned somewhere there, most likely.
He was really good guy.
Okay, it's clear with Andrusha. And this is how you stole a walkie-talkie from the Russians.
It's really simple.
We're just thinking.
Yes, it was in the same position. Reinforcement tried to reach them, and the commander, who was the last to go, did not make it. He died a little 2 meters before the position. And the radio station fell out of it.
Wait, their commander?
Yes, there was a group.
Yes, why did he die a little?
From the bullet. From the bullet. Our unit still shot the latter, and he died a little. And it fell out. When he fell, this radio station fell out of his body. Well, I say that I need this radio station, because I understand that a radio station is listening on the enemy. And I will just be able to win 2-3 days for us. We had a radio station before that. It lived with us 3 days. We captured it during the assault, and we really need it. We knew about every advance of the enemy unit. We didn't have to look. They said some things, and we understood that they were leaving. PMC Wagner advances only by type coordinates. It's 3 or 17 or 20, and when we have all these coordinates, then we knew where they go, where we need to point the weapon.
And you have already...
Yeah, there was, but they did it in a flash. It lived with us for 3 or 4 days. They did a flash, and we were left without this help again, let's say so.
And you still needed one, and you just saw it.
Yes, I ordered one of my crew, who was flying there and was less involved in the case, to take a rope with a hook and not to return without a walkie-talkie. They tried to pick her up for 2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hours? 2 hours or a little more, a very long time. I have this order in the morning, and only at noon they informed me that we have a walkie-talkie. And they grabbed it, brought it, and we used this radio station for 11 days.
They didn't flash it for 11 days, and you heard everything?
Yeah, they didn't know we had it.
Yeah.
They found the commander, and since distance to us was about 600 meters, they thought the walkie-talkie fell somewhere in a field. We controlled that field, and they say to themselves, leave it alone, and the main thing is that is not owned by Ukrainians.
Well, yes. The main thing is that is not the Punishers.
Many people have asked us why they did not ice the drone hanging at height of 3 meters, because at the same time the enemy's positions were hit by fire. There was either a mortar fire, a grenade launcher, or an under-barrel attack. Someone kept shooting. They didn't care about us. They were hiding, which is why our drone was able to hang there for this time and couple its mission. We had this radio station for 11 or 12 days, but then we captured a few more.
Okay, got it. You talked more about drones, and the videos were from drones. And in general, about your activity.
And in general, our unit is engaged in, let's say, all types of military activity. Everything that goes, everything that crawls, everything that drives, everything that shoots. Our unit has not lost the responsibility assigned to it for all this time. We are not showing off, but no matter where we stand, where our battalion performed tasks, it always received everything.
May I ask how long you are fighting in general? How much do you personally fight?
Me personally. May. Since April 2014.
Since April?
Since April. I arrived at the ATO 2 days before May 1st.
Yeah.
That's it. I was in the battles of Mykolaiivka, personally my unit. They were also in Slavyansk and so on and so on.
You didn't immediately become the battalion commander, did you?
No, of course not.
Tell us about your way.
About my way? Well, first I was the commander, chief of intelligence. Well, skip what happened before that. I was the deputy commander of the reconnaissance company.
Why we will skip it? Speaking of that...
Let's put it this way, my combat path, in general, before this, of the main position that I held, this is the deputy commander of the reconnaissance company. Then I already had my own unit. I had already started to be formed at that time. I already had 8 people with whom we were doing something, and they shot and went to reconnaissance. It was back in 2016, there was not such a scale, and we went to the other side more, survived the
That's
area.
what I'm asking, that you are the combat commander of the battalion.
Well, maybe.
You personally took part in
all of
hostilities.
them, I personally took part in all the campaigns of my unit, except for the last 2-3 months. This was not discussed.
May I ask about your civil life? What did you do before you decided to connect your life with the defense of Ukraine?
Well, then you can talk about my childhood.
About childhood?
Yes, I will not talk about my last years and adult life.
Well, did you do business?
Yes.
You were in business.
Let's say that in my useful, immature years I was the director of the beach.
Understood.
In the city of Kiev.
In the city of Kiev?
Yes.
Director of the beach in the city of Kiev, a person who in principle has a good life.
I was only 19 years old then.
19 years old, and at the age of 20 you decided to join the ATO.
Not at 20, but at 24. Yes,
At 24
precisely
years.
at the age of 24. As soon as the war started, I left immediately.
Was everything normal for you in civil life, right?
In civil life, yes.
From the age of 19 to the age of 24, everything was fine for you. Why did you decide to join the ATO?
How is it why? Duty? I'll tell you in Russian if possible. It is the duty of every man to defend his country. I don't understand any other upbringing. This is especially my idea. I will not impose it on anyone. Until I was 4 years old, the country allowed me to ride the subway for free. And I rode the trolley bus for free, and I rode the bus for free. This is my personal opinion. I have to pay the debt to the country. If no one had yet called it a war, then I may not be a debt to the country. But war is war, I would say, Roger. You have to take your nothing and go defend the country. If someone has... I don't remember any case in our country when someone having 3 rooms wanted to give one to someone. Maybe I've never been to Crimea. Never in my life I have been to Crimea. But it's still my city. Why should I give it to someone? That's when they took it away. I really wanted to go to it. I really still want to get there. And if we take it away, maybe I want to go him. But to me, yes.
Perhaps.
But why should I give someone a room in my apartment and let someone in there?
Can I ask you, what did you do?
Of course. Before the war, I received a higher education and worked as legal consultant in a state institution at the National University of Railway Transport.
And since what year have you been fighting?
Since the end of 2015.
Since the end of 2015?
Yes.
It's been a long time.
He is with me. Since 2018 in my unit. Yes.
In 2018.
I came and took them to me.
And where were you? In which directions?
I started my service on the Svetlodarsk R. That is, at that time there were also assault action there.
In the same battalion?
Yes, in this battalion. Then the battalion commander was Kupel, also a famous person who now works in one of the state apparatuses. And it turns out that our battalion took part in assault operations. 2 enemy positions were captured, thanks to which the front line advanced by more than 1 kilometer. This is quite a long distance.
And currently, what functions do you perform?
I say depending on universal soldier. Yes, depending on the task, we choose weapons, choose a place, and already having received the task, he started with a 120 caliber mortar. He's one of the screensaver in our videos.
On the screensaver?
He's on the screensaver of all our videos. It was actually artillery shelling began in Marinka. Their position caught fire. They extinguished it, but did he leave or... In general, armored vehicles
were
left for our front territories, and I said to burn everything if only there was shelling. And they burned it, and shot and burned, and they took this photo of me purely as a joke. And I decided that it can be put on the screensaver, because it is from the real life.
Yes, and it's pretty epic.
These two guys, we have a video where we destroyed a convoy of enemies. This were the first day of the war after the events in Volnovakha. About 17, 18 tons and 7 BMPs were advancing on us. And there they were met by one of our main, let's say, gangs. They attacked the front territories of the 36th Separatist South Battalion, and we were sent there for reinforcements, and were 6 people. And here are 2 of them.
And tell me, please, what you did and when you went to fight.
Started serving in 2015 on the 8th of March. No, I lied. On the 9th of March.
9.
Worked for my uncle. He was a farmer.
And where are you from?
From Poltava.
From Poltava?
Yes.
You are from Poltava, you are from Kyiv, but I didn't ask you
the city
from
of
the Dnipro.
Yes, we have people from everywhere. All from different areas.
And he's oldest in our unit.
Well, not by age.
The very first.
By service life.
After me.
In this section.
This is the first person I took.
Where have you been? In which directions?
We started our service in the city of Shastya, Lugansk region. In 2015, I came there to serve as an anti-aircraft gunner. I had a needle. I was an anti-aircraft gunner. And by chance, I met Kirill through an acquaintance.
Yeah.
And joined his group.
Yes,
there
we
were
have
about
been
4 of
growing
us
for
there.
a long time.
We have the largest.
We grow in scale along with how my position grew.
Yes, our biggest weapon was a Kalashnikov assault rifle with a caliber. And then we gradually scaled up our armaments. Now we shoot actually from everything.
And what can you say now? Are new people coming?
In the unit?
Yes.
Yes. But before it was almost impossible to get into the unit. I recruited 2 people a year, maximum 2.
That is not easy to get to you.
It was not easy to get there. It's much easier now because we scale it so much.
Yep.
And in fact, there are many of us now, and let's say this, we have a K-2 battalion, but we also have a separate reconnaissance group. It's still difficult to get into intelligence, a universal group that participates everywhere in all assaults.
And what are the problems that can't be talked about?
There are none. That's all. Life is wonderful.
This does not happen.
It happens. It happens only one problem, but it is mine personally that my unit in the 17th month without rotation. Literally the 17th month already. Not my unit, but our brigade in which my unit is located. We are 17 months without rotation. That is, we enter it. Personally, our team visited in September 2021, and we visited from August 2021. And now it is 2023, and we are still without rotation.
It has to do with the mobilization problem, right? If it was more active...
It's not about mobilization. There are simply brigades that stand and actively fight for every meter. Literally for every meter of land.
Yeah.
Our battalion was also knocked out of some positions. I can honestly say that they were knocked out. We were knocked out from 2 positions, but after 2, maximum 4 hours, we launched a counterattack. We didn't give the enemy the opportunity to gain a foothold and pull up the reserve. Of course, there were losses. Not everything is so simple, but it's one thing to attack 5 people and another thing is to attack a company base, which tomorrow will have equipment, mortars, minefields, etc. We were given an order and we ourselves understood that these counterattacks must be carried out instantly in the shortest possible time. In addition, we actively use, well, I'll be honest, our infantry know that it's always there, let's put it this way, heavy weapons. My infantry can easily call for mortar support, any caliber support we deem necessary. They simply say, give fire.
And armored vehicles always come to me. I have a very good armored support group. We have a battalion, a brigade, it comes out instantly. It doesn't matter if there is still an enemy. It won't happen, it will go back, but our infantry knows that it is not alone.
Good. But there are such subdivisions. There is just such a problem. I will ask and you will answer as you wish. There are units that do not hold their position as stubbornly as yours.
It all depends on the commander. I am not talking about myself now. I have a brigade commander who is very good at finding words for my motivation. And sometimes it happens that out of all those 10 phrases, only one word is censored and others are shameful to name. But it motivates me very well. He will tell me where I will go after that and what will happen to me. We respect him very much. Look, I'll tell you. Brigade battle orders are the domino principle. One part has fallen, the entire front edge will fall.
Yes.
Everything is really simple, and given this approach, I explain to people that we can retreat here, but then other companies and then neighboring battalions will have to retreat successively. They're set up now with the dugouts and everything. They're closed, and then with each shelling there will be losses, losses and losses. And this is how people understand. People need to get their point across. They must understand that every action has consequences.
If your main problem is rotation, as you say, yes?
Yes.
What solutions do you see?
Well, of course, I see the time will come, another recovery team will come. There is a rather heavy line of responsibility, a difficult front line. This is a Lysychan direction. We came here, I don't know, deny that we retreated from here. Retreated, let's say so. I won't say whether it was fast or not, but our brigade came in and stood tight. Well, that happened to us. I'm not saying that we managed to do that at that time. And this range of responsibility increases once every 1.5 to 2 months. That is, we can have completely silence for a month, and then bang, and 1,000 people and a lot of equipment have arrived.
Yeah.
We kill them.
Do you manage?
Yes.
You manage?
Yes, we have. Everything is trivially simple. If any number of enemies advancing on you, if you inflict maximum losses on them, at least 30% in the next 2-3 hours, the enemy will always retreat. Well, accordingly, if you inflict some losses on him within 2 days, he will simply tighten the reserve. If you give a good rebuff right away, they will understand that you can't go any further. If 100 people attack and you kill 30 in the first 15 minutes, everyone else will turn around. They will understand. But if they don't have enough sense and they give us such a gift, they will move on, then we kill them all and only Andrusha remains.
Well, yes, we have already talked about this specific case. Do you have enough BC weapons to repel such attacks?
You have to use all your imagination.
With imagination?
With fantasy, you shoot more accurately. We have Russian... The enemy, due to the fact that we do not have BC, gave us a great opportunity to save it and hit it with precision and accuracy. We used to specialize in this, and during Atto we couldn't shoot much. That is, there was always a shortage. The limited number of BC is not nonsense for us. Normal situation.
Yeah.
Limit for a certain operation, we are working on it, but of course we would like to do better. But there is BC, it's no secret that there is. This is not such a big problem compared to rotation. There is BC, if it is less, of course it is bad. It's good if there is more. The more BC, the more losses.
But the help, do you feel the help provided by the Western partners?
Of course.
Do you feel it?
Yes.
You get everything little by little.
We also have javelins, anti-tank weapons. We have almost all. Our anti-tank means are almost all ground except Stugn and mines. Well, we have all BC. Here, Messi destroyed a tank with a javelin. I personally destroyed a tank with a javelin. I'm the first in our brigade to destroy a tank. This is to answer your question about whether I fight alongside my people.
First battalion commander.
Yes. I think I got the title of hero when I destroyed him.
Did you receive the title of Hero of Ukraine?
So.
Are you the only one in the unit, or is there someone else?
Yes, I am the only one. I was the first in the brigade to receive the title of Hero of Ukraine, and the only one in its division. But all the soldiers of my unit have state awards. All. even before the start of a full-scale war.
Is this what you got for the sum of your merits?
No.
For something specific?
Yes.
For what?
Well, when the application was submitted, they submitted my candidacy for the events in Marinka. It turned out that my battalion was stationed in the city of Krasnohorivka.
Yeah.
And the neighboring battalion was stationed in the city of Marinka.
Yeah.
But there was an order to send some people and the battalion commander to go to another settlement. And I had to take part of my unit and come to this settlement. And it was on this day that the enemy's attack on it began. Massive attack in the Donetsk direction. And it turned out that I was in charge of the defense of this settlement. I withdrew on the first day. Let's put it in this way. I suggested that the brigade commander retreat. I asked him to give me the opportunity to withdraw, because I understood that at such a distance I would not be able to maneuver. I promised that I would get everything back by morning. True, I promised that I would manage by 6 in the morning, but I managed at 9. Yes, and before that 5 days before the events in Marinka, we burned about 20 units, 17 or 20 units of equipment. In general, there were 5 attacks of 20-25. In each attack, a column of vehicles drove, which had 20-25 units. And we constantly burned 3 or 4 or 5 units of equipment from
and you were
these
rewarded
columns,
for
and
this
they
successful
retreated.
operation.
Yes.
If I may say so.
My candidacy was nominated, as I understand, also for the recaptured territories, and even before that we recaptured the settlement of Stepove. It was half captured. We counterattacked when we beat him back. In total for these 12-13 units of equipment and 2 settlements. Well, they gave me the title of Hero of Ukraine, and I also set fire at 9 tanks in Marinka. Well, somewhere near that. I received an award for about 20 pieces of equipment. Well, not me, by my small unit.
That's cool. I have run out of questions. Do you want to say something from yourself?
Now, why I'm saying that, I will tell you personally right away so that you understand. Why I say 2 tanks or 3 tanks, I can't say for sure. Because today, in a year of full-scale war, the unit has about 100 pieces of equipment. I do not count Urals, Kamaz, armored personnel carriers. I count only BMPs and tanks.
Yes.
Here I remember my 40th tank because I personally destroyed it. I took the javelin in my hands and destroyed it. This is a number I remember, and all other numbers for each attack no. I can find documents and see inside the record how many there were. There were about 100 tanks and BMPs in the unit. That is difficult for me to guess. For me, 1 tank more or less is not significant. That's why I don't really on a specific number. 3 or 10 destroyed, but definitely destroyed.
What can you say, for example, about volunteer help? Are you being helped? And how important is it?
I can't even say who helps more, Western partners or volunteers. There is fine line with which I will argue.
Let's.
Well, I think the volunteers did even more.
Volunteers did more?
Yes, but this is my personal opinion.
And if we talk about food security and if...
No, look, I don't want to talk about food in the armored forces at all. It's a taboo for me. I have not yet seen one who died of hunger. There is enough food. I will say it simply. The food supply for the reconnaissance platoon was also sufficient to allocate hospitals. My battalion could also provide a hospital and a kindergarten without any problems. At the same time, eat normally.
That is, I can be say that volunteers...
50-50.
With Western partners.
Yes.
And what about people who do not personally take part in hostilities, but help...
I can say that here it is necessary to distinguish a little. For example, a 35-year-old man who does not weigh 80 kilograms like me, but 115 can fight and he helps. Or a grandmother who is 90 years old cannot fight and helps. This is 5-year-old girl. They all help, but 2 of them physically cannot fight and 1 can. If people do not fight, so I want to say to the male population, at least study while you have time. This is probably the message. Study, so that no one would say it later that he was not taught. They are taught in educational institutions, on conscript service, they teach there. And nobody will teach you in the trenches. Their endless enemy will teach you what aviation is, what artillery is, and what shooting combat is at a distance of 6 meters or maybe 2 meters or 15. Therefore, because of this, it is necessary to learn some basics at home. As long as you have YouTube and the internet, you could have studied all this 9 years. People come and say we were not taught. It's very cool that in our brigade the commander gives recruits 2 weeks and we train with them on the training ground.
Well, every city has territorial defense forces that conduct their training. I have seen these training sessions.
That's why I say that people should study. And that's it. And everyone helps.
Of course. And one more question.
I even have girls serving in my department.
I saw.
There is more than one girl.
I saw. I invited them, but you say that they are not very
One girl is my
talkative.
co-pilot. Now it's the first one. She and I were shot with a tank. She was in the hospital. She had a contusion. She had burns. She was in almost all counterattacks. She filmed 50% of the attacks with me. I only went to some of them myself and simply did not want to take her only for the reason that I needed someone whom I trust on another part of the front. That's all. When our unit came here, she operated the drone non-stop for the first 7 days, while the battalion settled down and took up battle formations. She found them, she gave corrections, we destroyed, and when she had already done the main work, I gave her the opportunity to rest and the others to learn. Now there are already many pilots recruits have learned. Women are flying drones. Do you understand?
It sounds like
Women are fighting. Even women are fighting, you know?
About those who wait, you must have talked enough with the local population which is waiting for Russian peace.
We don't have them now.
only one woman driving down the street.
We have a very good aura. Where we are, everyone is waiting only for Ukraine. I'm telling the truth. Wherever I am, everyone is waiting for Ukraine. The power of suggestion is very strong in aura. A person should exude positivity. Or negative, but very quickly. There are many pro-Ukrainian people, and there are schizophrenics in the literal sense. I said if anyone wants... If a local resident approached me, and he will say, "Commander, I want to live in Russia. Give me the opportunity to go to the other side," I will allow it. I will even bring things to the front line, and I will tell them to go where they want. We are people, everything for people.
This is a good decision.
Yes, the armed forces are first of all for people. If someone lives here and wants to live there, I will gladly help, even deliver things, even give something to eat, even if you feed those there. People are starving there, you know? I had one prisoner here. I gave him galettes that one of the volunteers had given me. I opened the first box and there is a box of these crackers. I say, hold it, say that the commander of K-2 battalion gave them to you and no one will take them away from you. They will really be yours and you will eat them all. It's a pity. Why beat him? You have give him something to eat.
Good. Then, one more question. I have conducted, as you know, enough interviews with these prisoners, and people always wrote to me, how do you communicate with them? I would kill them or I would kill them.
If he has already surrendered and you brought him to your rear, as soon as you took him out of the battlefield, he was already a prisoner. When he is still on the battlefield, even in your trenches, he is still an enemy. Because at any moment he can grab your machine gun, take out a knife, grab a grenade. You can be wounded, but they can still grab your machine gun, shoot you and run away. He's still an enemy there, but as soon as you took him outbound, both him to your headquarters or to some other place, that's another matter. I am against it. He will tell everything anyway. He understands everything. He will tell everything. I see no point in beating him. You just needed to talk normally.
And how do you feel about the fact that they start talking about the fact that he was forced?
This is a lie. It's all lies and provocation.
But they tell you the same thing.
No, I don't even ask them such things in general. Fundamentally, I am only interested in who, where he is from, where and why he is going. Well, if it is PMC Wagner, then I also ask whether he went to prison. There are punishments for an iPhone, because of a neighbor, because of a battle. But why exactly he went to war, I'm not interested.
I understood.
They left not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to leave. Let's talk about the last prisoners. They had to serve 8 months, 6 months, 5 months. They say, I will kill a couple of Ukrainians and I will have a bright future. My criminal record will be cleared. There will be no parole for 10 years.
We are talking about the Wagnerites. This is understandable, but there are also some characters, probably 50%, from whom going here to the war is in principle the last chance. Some were really forced. That is, torture was used there.
Yes. And he saw that it would be better to kill other than to die himself.
Yes.
The same.
These are Wagnerites, of course, and there is
I
more...
don't believe any of them. Personally, I don't believe any of them about the phrase I didn't know. I will believe only in one case. I believed one. We had one captured at the beginning of August. Someone from the Lysychansk plant took 2 weapons and just came to us across the field. 3 kilometers. Through his troops. He bypassed his troops and ours, came and said, guys, hold on. Let's go. Here he stood, ate, and enjoyed life. Here I saw that the person really did not know where he had come. He knew that he was going to war to beat Ukrainians, but when he got to the territory of the Lugansk region, he realized that Ukrainians were not being beaten, but Ukrainians were beating. And he himself immediately came to us. Those who were captured in the battle, surrounded. They knew where they were going. They knew what they were going to do. In addition, we don't forget about the exchange fund. It's cool stuff.
Yes, it is important.
Absolutely. First of all, I always ask, who is it? Position, rank, and unit. It's right away.